picture it. A high-protein vegan meal prep that just takes 1 hour, gives you 3 full days of meals, 100 grams of protein per day, while staying under 1,800 calories. Talk about a dream. Well, dream no more. This girl right here is gonna turn your high-protein vegan meal prep dreams into reality. We're gonna be doing breakfast, lunch, and dinner today. That's right, I got you covered from morning all the way till night. You're welcome. For breakfast, we're gonna be making a high-protein chocolate peanut butter overnight oats. It is indulgent, creamy, so yummy. No protein powder required, so we're just gonna be using all whole food plant-based ingredients, and trust me, it is gonna be jacked with protein. For lunch, we're gonna be doing a high-protein lentil penne pasta salad, Mediterranean style. It is packed with veggies, super nourishing, super filling. And for dinner, we're doing Greek bowls, baby. I'm talking tofu souvlaki, veggies, quinoa, and a really tangy, creamy tahini sauce that is to die for. This meal prep is gonna be so good. So let's get right into it. Okay, so we're gonna get started with the things that take the longest to prepare or the longest to cook. In this case, we're gonna start with our tofu marinade. We're gonna get cracking on our tofu souvlaki. So here I have 3 blocks of extra firm tofu. I can only hold 2 because, you know, small hands. But before we can even get to the tofu, we have to make the marinade, which is arguably the most, well, absolutely arguably the most delicious part. I have made this tofu souvlaki in my Greek meal prep video right up here. There's a whole bunch of other really good vegan Greek recipes that you should check out if you're interested. I'll link that here and below. First of all, we have to do our marinade. And the number 1 ingredient in a tofu souvlaki is a boatload of garlic, okay? So whoa, don't drop it in your sink. We're gonna take this here fine little microplane and we're just going to grate or finely mince all of our garlic into a bowl or a jar. And once that's done, we're gonna add all of our other ingredients. We've got some smoked paprika, we've got oregano, we've got some basil, we need salt and pepper, and then we also need a lot of lemon juice. So about the juice of 2 lemons or roughly a 1/4 cup of lemon juice. We're also gonna add some oil in there because that is what's gonna really help to crisp up the tofu once it's in the oven and help it get nice and golden brown. We're also gonna add a 1/4 cup of water just to make sure that the marinade goes a long way. We don't want it to be too thick. Now we're just gonna give it a little whiskey, as we do in this kitchen. Oh, the smell. It's everything. Now we're just going to take our tofu, all 3 blocks of it. We're gonna chop them into roughly 1-inch-ish cubes, or really however big you want them to be. And then we're going to transfer them to a large shallow dish that we're gonna use to marinate the tofu in. Once they're all assembled in a relatively even layer or 2, we're just gonna pour over that marinade, make sure it really covers every piece of tofu, put the lid on your tray or container, and then just give it a quick little shake, a little toss. If you can, flip it upside down. Just really make sure each piece of tofu is nicely coated. And we're just gonna pop that in the fridge to let it marinate for the next 30 minutes. Now, this step that we've done here can actually be done the night before. And in fact, it's something I would actually recommend that you do if you have the time, because 1, it'll cut down on your meal prep today, but it'll also really help to absorb more flavor into the tofu because it'll have a longer chance to marinate and have fun in the fridge. Righto, okay. Now we can move on to some other fun stuff now that the tofu is out of the way. By the way, we're only gonna let that marinate for about 30 minutes. So in that time, we're gonna accomplish so much. So first of all, we're gonna get a big ass pot of water boiling for the pasta. Make sure it's nicely, heavily salted. And speaking of pasta, I'm gonna be using this high protein red lentil pasta that I got from Costco. Depending on where you live, Costco will generally always have some sort of high protein gluten-free pasta from my experience. Sometimes they have chickpea pasta. This time around they had lentils. So we're gonna be doing about 20 ounces, which is practically half a box of the lentil penne. And then we're also gonna get our lentil quinoa cooking. Yes, lentil quinoa. So I often will add a little bit of red lentils to my quinoa when it's cooking. These two are gonna get cooked together for our Greek bowls. And the reason why I like to add quinoa to my lentils, other way around, lentils to my quinoa, is because these add so much extra protein and they add a really nice kind of nutty, rich flavor. This helps to bulk things up and make things more filling. So go ahead and rinse out your lentils and your quinoa in a sieve over the sink. Make sure you get any weird dust and debris off your lentils, which is never appetizing. We're gonna add 3 cups of water to a small pot, get that boiling, cook it for about 20 minutes on medium-low heat. That's generally all it takes for the quinoa to cook. And then once it's done, you can take it off the heat, let it cool while we prepare other things. So let's move on to the next step, which is gonna be all of our produce prep, all of our veggie chopping, which is so much fun. If you have a food processor and you like to use that for your chopping, you can totally do that. The veggies here are obviously for the lunch and the dinner, the pasta salad and the Greek bowls. So for the pasta salad, we've got some bell peppers. I've got 2 reds, an orange, a yellow. They're big and crisp and delicious. We've got a zucchini. We've got some green onions. We're gonna chop those all up however you want them to be in your pasta salad. I personally like my veggies quite chunky in pasta salads instead of really finely minced. And then for the Greek bowls, we've got a head of cauliflower and 2 crowns of broccoli. We're gonna be steaming those up in a little while for our Greek bowls, so you can just go ahead and chop those into some small florets. And you might be wondering, what are all the lemons here for? Well, I shall tell you. Yes, there's like a bajillion lemons here and we might need them all, but we pretty much need about 1 1/4 cups of lemon juice for all of the recipes, including the pasta salad and a few other components in the Greek bowl. So you might not need all the lemons that I have here, but you'll probably need about 7 or 8. Oop. There goes my timer. Just juice them all up until you get about 1 1/4 cups. Also, side note, at some point during your veggie chopping, your pasta noodles will inevitably finish cooking. Once they do, you can strain them out in the sink and then rinse them really well in cold water, and then just set them aside to cool while we prepare the rest of the meal prep. Once your veggie prep is done, you can also go ahead and drain your can of corn for the pasta salad, as well as drain and rinse your can of chickpeas for the pasta salad as well. All right, people, things are looking really real up in here. So our veggie prep is done. We've got the broccoli and cauli ready to steam for our Greek bowls. We've got all of our pasta salad veggies ready, prepped in a bowl. We have our pasta noodles cooked. We've got 1,000 lemons juiced. We are pausing for a quick snack break and having a bell pep. Speaking of pep, if this video is putting a pep in your step, make sure you subscribe below. I do high protein meal preps and grocery hauls and recipes all the time. Twice a week I post my videos, and I'm really trying to build my happy little vegan community, my steamy vegan community, and I want you to join in. Make sure you subscribe below. With that being said, let's continue on with the cooking. Okay, while I was finishing and chopping up the veggies, I got the oven preheating to 425 degrees Fahrenheit so that we can get started on cooking up our tofu souvlaki. You're gonna need to grab yourself a large baking tray. You might even need 2, and lightly oil it just with some cooking spray. And we're going to just transfer all of our lovely, beautiful, delicious smelling tofu souvlaki onto the baking tray. Now, technically souvlaki means on a skewer. I don't know if it means on a skewer, but souvlaki is always on a skewer, but I'm doing the lazy thing today. I'm not worrying about skewers today because it's a little bit hard to store souvlaki like that in the fridge, so I just find it's way easier to serve and store if we're just cooking it sans skewer. She's beautiful. Okay, we're gonna bake this now for about 30 minutes in the oven. This should come out looking really nice and golden brown, slightly crisped edges, and just gorgeous. All right, y'all, things are happening, things are moving along. We are getting through our list like a bunch of pros. The lentil quinoa is looking good. It's cooked, it's fluffy. I'm letting it sit on the stove and just cooling down for a while. I'm gonna get the broccoli and cauliflower steaming now. We're gonna steam that for about 7 to 8 minutes, just until the broccoli is bright green, but still a little bit firm. Same with the cauliflower. We don't want to over steam them and turn them to mush because we will eventually be reheating them later on when we're gonna eat these later in the week, and we don't wanna like twice cook them, you know? While that's all happening, we're gonna make our pasta salad, and half the work is already done. We'll make our dressing for the pasta salad first. So remember those 1,000 lemons we juiced? Well, pour about 3/4 of a cup of that juice into another small bowl or like a measuring cup like this. Then we're gonna add a few fun seasonings, a few accoutrements, if you will. We're gonna add a 1/4 cup of olive oil. The olive oil is important because it will help prevent the pasta noodles from sticking together in the fridge, which nobody wants. We'll add 2 teaspoons of onion powder, a teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of dried basil, a teaspoon of salt, and a few healthy grinds of black pepper, only healthy ones. And now what do we do? Of course, Janelle, what we always do. Give it a little whiskey. That's good. Sneaky, obligatory taste test. Sorry, that just like was super tangy. Kind of alarmed me, but in a good way. It's really good, like so good. Okay, now we get into the fun part. We're going to assemble and commingle all of the ingredients for the pasta salad. Like I said, most of the work is already done for us. Here I have all of the veggies that I set aside and prepped in a really large mixing bowl. We got the bell peppers, the green onion, the zucchini, and then we're gonna add the chickpeas. We're gonna add all of the cooked penne noodles, which should be cooled by now. I may have underestimated the size of bowl I would need for this salad. I have recruited the help of another bowl. I almost forgot the corn. We must add 1 can of corn. We also shan't forget the 1/2 cup of black olives. Nay. That is the biggest bowl of pasta salad I've ever made. Now, you might be looking at me and thinking, Janelle, what the hell? This is way too much food for 2 people. Well, remember, this is 3 whole days of high protein lunch for 2 people. So have a nice big bowl every day and you'll get through this thing in no time. Okay guys, we are moving on to our lemony tahini dill dressing for our Greek bowls. I just wanted to have a really quick and easy dressing that I could just pour over our Greek bowls. It's so good. I make a version of this all the time, especially with my tahini parmesan broccoli, which if you have not seen that recipe, check it out here or down here. One of the main ingredients for this dilly dressing is actually garlic. No surprise, I love garlic. We meet again, microplane. So we're just going to mince up 6 large cloves of garlic into a bowl. It can be the same bowl that we made the dressing for the pasta salad in, no biggie. And then we're gonna take some tahini, which is sesame paste, and we're going to add 6 tablespoons of that, or AKA a 1/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons. We're gonna add 6 tablespoons of lemon juice, 1/4 cup of soy sauce. This is my favorite stuff to use because it's gluten-free. We're gonna add a 1/4 cup of water and some salt and pepper. And we're gonna add a 1/4 cup of fresh dill. Mince it up real fine. Give it all a good whiskey to combine. Give it a quick taste test to make sure it's banging. It is banging. And lo and behold, pretty much everything that we were cooking is now finished cooking. The tofu is out of the oven. It is so beautiful. It crisped up to perfection. The herbs got a little bit crunchy on the outside, which I happen to like. The broccoli and cauliflower is finished steaming. The lentil quinoa finished cooking a while ago. And we're pretty much just gonna let our cooked food cool down a little bit. And while that's happening, we're gonna wrap up this meal prep by quickly whipping up our chocolate peanut butter high protein overnight oats. Now, I am not reinventing the overnight oats wheel, if you will, but we are gonna be using lots of simple ingredients that are commonly found in overnight oats, like oats. But since these are chocolatey oats, we're gonna use some cocoa powder, and for the peanut butter factor, we're gonna be using powdered peanut butter today. First of all, grab yourself a large mixing bowl because we're just gonna make all of the servings in one big bowl. And we're gonna take here some oats. I'm using sprouted oats. These are the ones I buy from Costco that you've probably seen me talk a lot about on the channel. I love sprouted oats because they are higher in protein than regular oats, and these are also certified gluten-free. Check out the 1 Degree brand if you're interested, or watch any of my Costco grocery hauls here. We got 2 cups of oats. We're gonna add a 1/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons of chia seeds for the fiber and the omegas and the protein. We're gonna add a 1/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed, also for protein and healthy fats and omega-3s. A 1/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder. You could also use cacao powder if you want more antioxidants. We're gonna add 3/4 of a cup of powdered peanut butter. Then we're gonna add 3 teaspoons of cinnamon. 3/4 teaspoons of salt, and that's it for the dry ingredients. Now you can just give it all a quick little whiskey to combine. And then we're going to add in our wet ingredients. So you can use really whatever plant milk you like, but I recommend soy milk if you want it to be a higher protein. And then for a touch of sweetness, we are gonna add a 1/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. You could also use agave if you want. And for extra flavor, 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Now just give that all a really good stir to combine. And we're just gonna let the bowl sit aside on the counter for about 5 to 10 minutes, just so it slightly thickens up a bit. Then we'll give it another quick stir afterwards, and then it'll be ready for us to divide into 6 containers or jars for the week ahead. Now all that's left to do, now that everything has been cooked and prepared, is to simply put everything into storage containers. So I personally am going to be putting the pasta salad into 6 separate meal prep containers, which I somehow made fit. Don't ask me how, it was a miracle. For the breakfast, I'm putting the overnight oats in 6 separate jars. But for the dinner, I'm not actually gonna be putting them in like meal prep containers because I'm not really in a rush during dinner. I usually like to have like those to-go containers for breakfast and lunch because I'm usually pretty busy during the daytime. But at nighttime, I try to slow down a little bit, and I don't mind just pulling out all the containers and just serving up myself and Brad a nice plate of food for dinner each night. So that's what I'm gonna do, but you can absolutely, if you have enough meal prep containers, create your own little containers of a complete dinner. All right, y'all, it is time to talk about the macros. Yes, you have been patiently waiting for this moment. Let's get into it. Breakfast, the overnight oats came to 510 calories and hit 30 grams of plant-based protein. Our Mediterranean pasta salad for lunch came to 600 calories and 31 grams of plant-based protein. And for dinner, our epic Greek bowls, 660 calories and a whopping 44 grams of protein. Yeah. Our total protein for the day, 101 grams, and our calories came in under 1,800 at 1,770. Thank you. Thank you. I'll be here all week. I hope that this shows you that it is so easy to get tons of plant-based protein into your day on a whole food plant-based diet. And if you guys like this video and want to see more like it on the channel, please let me know in a comment below. Subscribe if you're not already. I would really love to have you join the community I'm building here on YouTube. We just hit 10K not long ago, and I'm super excited to watch the channel grow and have you join me on this high protein, gluten-free, plant-based journey. Love to have you, so subscribe, and I'll see you hopefully in another video real soon. Bye!